Sorry, it would seem that Samael has possessed my body. In this review slash discussion rant of Silent Hill's history on how it became to me and how I discovered it. Now, this will be a Halloween special video, just in time for the holidays. But besides that, I want to take you on a journey of when Silent Hill became a huge thing for me, and why it was so good later on in the years. First, I would like to tell you a story. There was a time in my life where I had a bunch of games that I owned, and I've beaten them all. And I was bored as shit. But what happened? I said, there's gotta be one of these games that I did not complete fully. I was looking at my case, and I seen Silent Hill. I did not get all the endings in that game. That was the only game I did not fully complete. So, I decided to play it and get those endings, even though the game scared the shit out of me. I still did it. Now, Cloud here, the dark evil Cloud, first came to know Silent Hill back when it wasn't very known. It actually first came out on the PlayStation 1. Now, I was the type of person to go into a game store and just based on the cover of the game, if I liked it, I would buy it. Now, my parents decided, okay, you only have about 20 to 25 bucks to spend on a game. I was like, well, let's see now. My options are pretty limited. So I seen this in the store. I was mesmerized by the cover. I was like, what is this? It seems cool. It seems all dark and spooky. But I was so retarded that I looked at the back of it and I didn't know what kind of game it is. I did not know what kind of game it was. Even though it says horror right on the freaking case. I was so stupid. I didn't know what kind of game it was. But I was attracted by the cover. And I said, let's get this one. It's $20. We're just gonna give it a shot. So I took it to my cousin's house, my psycho cousin, and I started playing it, and I was immediately scared. As a little kid playing this, it is very disturbing. Because when you're a kid, you play adventure games. You play Mario, you play Sonic, you play all these old school fun games, and it captivates your imagination, correct? Well, this definitely captivated my imagination, but not in a way you might think. It was very evil. This game is evil. It freaking scares me. Okay. Now, when I first was playing this game, I found it very disturbing and weird, okay? But there was an attraction to it, although I was too young to notice it. It went over my head, and I just seen this game as depressing, boring, creepy, and I just wanted to get it over with, quite frankly. Because when I got a game, I finished it, no matter how bad it sucked. So I did finish it, and boy was I glad I finished it. I put this away in my cases, in my little section for games, and left it there and collect dust. And then went to a convention one year, 2001, I believe. Went to a convention, and I seen this was for sale. Silent Hill 2. This game was for sale. I seen, ooh, look, mommy, it's Silent Hill 2. Oh, but wait, Isn't that game depressing and evil and scary? Oh hell, I'm bored. Let's just get it. Let's scare ourselves and be depressed. Okay, so I did. I actually got two versions here. The greatest hits version, it has extra content. In the original version, I have both. Yes. But anyways, these games came to me, and it was yet another thing. Depressing, creepy, disturbing, depressing, boring. Didn't see the beauty in it because I was young and my artisticness didn't kick in until later in my life. So that's basically the story of how I got these games. Now we're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty about why I started playing these games again, because I so-called hated them, and what attracted them to me later on as I started playing them again. Now, I decided to pick this back up again when I beaten all my games and I was bored. I wanted to get these endings, and the same for part 2. I didn't get all the endings. So I started playing this again. Opened it up, put it in my PlayStation 1. Oh, right there. When you open that game, that's some scary shit right there. Witnessing that. And I started playing again. And I noticed something when I started playing the beginning. This felt very different. I started to see artistic things. I started to see beauty in these games. I mean, these games are so much more beautiful than the so-called Resident Evil games that I disbanded Resident Evil. I did have Resident Evil 2 on the PlayStation 1 that I loved, but it easily got replaced. It got replaced. Silent Hill is much more scarier. It's much more better. It's a true horror game. Now, I started to play these and I started to really get into the story. Like Alessa and the demon and the Samael and oh my god, just thinking about it, it makes my brain just ah, god, I'm not feeling too well. I started like seeing the beauty in this. This is by far one of the best horror series in the world, next to Fatal Frame. That's my second favorite. So I started playing this and everything about it, the music, legendary composer Akira Yamaoka. He's a genius when it comes to creepy sound and industrial feeling music that belongs in this genre. So I decided to do it and it was amazing. This was one of the most scariest games of all time. And for its time, back in 1999, this was the pinnacle of the scariest game you'll ever play in your life. And to this day, it still is one of the scariest genres in existence. Now, Silent Hill, after the third one, the fourth one was still good and remained true to the feeling, but it wasn't an ideal Silent Hill game that you know. But we'll talk about the failures of Silent Hill in later. First, let's get on to the next piece. Silent Hill 2. These games. This game is by far my personal favorite, and a lot of fans' personal favorite. Why is it so praised beyond the Silent Hill cult fan base? Because it is brilliant. If you saw the making of Silent Hill 2, you'll know why. And it's not just that. There's game facts. If you go to the Silent Hill 2 portion, there's a game script that explains the stories behind everything. There's lots of theories out there. I mean, I have some of my own theories on the game and certain things in the game. But it's so brilliant. The manifestations of the mind, James James and his lust for, you know, basically, okay, the story is there's gonna be spoilers, so If you haven't played this game and you want to, just pause it and leave. But anyways, on to the nitty-gritty of this. Basically, James is looking for his dead wife. He got a letter from her, Mary, and she's basically calling him to Silent Hill, where they used to be and stay, and where they had good memories before she got sick. And she died from a disease 3 years ago, and for some reason he's looking for her because he got a letter. There's just that shred of hope, that one, last hope that maybe she is still alive. Maybe she is waiting for him in Silent Hill. But here's where the spoilers come in. Like I said, if you don't want to be spoiled, leave. Basically, Mary was sick from a disease, but James couldn't take it no more. For 3 years taking care of her, he wanted his life back. So he murdered her with a fucking pillow. He fucking suffocated her. He was like, she wants him to pay for his sins. She wants him to suffer. So she brings him to Silent Hill. And the dark gods listen to her plea, making him suffer. The dark gods of Silent Hill take part in the suffering of James. Even so much that the town creates this fictional, lustful character, Maria, that looks just like Mary, but her hair is different. She's dressed like a slut because James's brain, because all that time he took care of Mary and didn't get any, he wanted sex really bad. So his mind is going crazy with sexual thoughts, and his mind, the manifestations come out in the monsters. That's why you see the mannequin monster is basically suggestive. You can see, just suggestive clothing, and the nurses where you can see the cut V, shirts with showing the boobs coming out. That's all in James's brain because his sexualness in his brain is making him, it's coming out of his brain. You understand what I'm saying. And Pyramid Head is an executioner. Pyramid Head wants to make James suffer and to kill James. You see him in the apartment buildings raping mannequins and always getting dead, female monsters and doing stuff to them. Why is that? It's James's sexual frustration. I have a theory. I know that Pyramid Head is an executioner, and the whole thing that ties into, James being, having guilty thoughts, and the guilt plays the big part. James feels a big guilt, okay? And Pyramid Head, I believe, is James. Because this is just my theory. It might not be true, but this is what I believe. Because if you turn the music off in Silent Hill 2, when you fight Pyramid Head in the apartment buildings, he makes grunts like a human when he swings his sword to the ground. It sounds kind of like James. So I came up with the theory that Pyramid Head is a dark evil version of James. And why you see Pyramid Head raping mannequins, and the mannequins are Mary in a manifestation, and the nurses with the bubble, bubble head wrapped around their face that like it looks like they're getting suffocated, they're getting suffocated. That also ties into the manifestations of Mary being suffocated by the pillow. These are all signs that these monsters are Mary in some shape or form. And Pyramid Head always killing them, hence James killing Mary, it makes sense. The manifestations are all there, it makes sense. And this is intelligent. This is very intelligent. That's why Silent Hill 2, just some of the reasons why Silent Hill 2 is one of the best in the series. It is amazing.